All right, welcome to the Alchemist's lab. In this explainer, we're basically handing you the user manual for, well, for the most complex and powerful system you'll ever own, your own mind. So let's just start with this one big idea. What if your mind isn't some, mysterious black box, but instead operates just like a computer? Because if it is, that means you've just been handed the admin password. And that's what this is all about, right? Giving you the tools you need to get access, to understand, and to actually upgrade your own internal system. Okay, so first things first, Section 1 is all about running diagnostics. I mean, think about it. Before you can upgrade any system, you've got to run a scan, right? You need to see how all the parts are connected and really understand what's going on under the hood. And we call this diagnostic map the Motherboard. It's a super useful way to see that your experience isn't just one single thing. Nope, it's actually 5 core components, all wired together, and they're constantly influencing each other. So let's break this down. First up, you've got the situation. Think of this as the raw input. Then there are your moods, which are kind of like emotional signal waves bouncing around. Number 3, you've got what we call pop-up ads. This is that glitchy code we're going to get into in a sec. Fourth is your physical reactions, which is basically hardware feedback from your body. And finally, number 5, your behavior. That's your output. The main thing to get here is that a tiny change in just one of these can set off a whole chain reaction across the entire system. It's all connected. Okay, so let's talk about those pop-up ads. That brings us to Section 2, debugging glitchy code. This is where we tackled the most common source of system errors, that automatic, unhelpful stuff running in the background. So what is this stuff? We call it glitchy code or pop-up ads. You know what I'm talking about. Those automatic words and images that just flash into your mind out of nowhere. A lot of the time, they're running these old, totally unhelpful scripts that can hijack your mood and your behavior before you even realize what hit you. Here's a perfect example from a user's log. We'll call her Marissa. Her system was just constantly throwing up these pop-ups. I'm a loser, I'm worthless, things will never get better. Sound familiar to anyone? These aren't facts, you guys. They're just lines of old, buggy code. So the big question is, when your system throws an error message, just like that one, what do? I mean, how do you even begin to handle it? Well, the first step is you file a bug report ticket. This is our first real tool in the lab, and it's super simple. It's just a log where you capture the error. You just note the situation, the input, your moods, the signal waves, and the specific pop-up ad that fired off. Seriously, just writing it down is the first crucial step to taking back control. All right, so you've logged a bug. What's next? Now it's time to analyze it. And that brings us to Section 3 and our fact-check algorithm. This is an awesome tool for separating the, let's call it the emotional drama from the cold, hard data. This is where we really start to debug. We run what we call the fact-check algorithm. And really, it's just a powerful way to look at the actual data, not just the glitchy emotional interpretation that your system spits out first. Let's look at this in action. Here's a log from a user we'll call Vic. His hot thought, that piece of glitchy code, was, "My wife doesn't care about me." Now, the only data he had supporting this was she had a look of distress on her face. That's it. But then when he ran the fact-check algorithm, he found a ton of contradictory data. I mean, she's stuck with him for years, she goes to support meetings with him, she tells him she loves him all the time. Turns out, that look on her face had nothing to do with him. It was about her sister's birthday. The pop-up was a complete and total misfire. Okay, so you found a bug, you fact-checked it. Now what? Now it's time to take what you've learned from the lab and test it out in the real world. This is where all that analysis turns into real meaningful action. And we call this beta testing. It's really just about running small, manageable experiments out in the real world to challenge your old assumptions. And most importantly, you're gathering new, updated data for your system. Here's another great example. A user named Claudia, who is a waitress, had this really sticky assumption. If I make a mistake at work, then I'm a worthless failure. So she decided to run a little beta test. She just started observing her coworkers. And what happened? Another waitress made a mistake, the customer still left a good tip, and literally no one thought she was a failure. The new data was crystal clear. It is absolutely possible to be imperfect and still have worth. Boom! That's a system patch right there. All right, and that brings us to our final section, Section 5. This is where we get to the deepest level of your system. Because when you see the same bugs and glitches popping up over and over, it usually points to a much more fundamental issue. We're talking about your operating system. Yeah, the source code itself. These are your fundamental core beliefs about yourself, about other people, and about the world. And they act like a filter for all incoming data. And guess what? They often get installed way back when you're a kid. Remember Marissa from earlier, the one with all those pop-ups? Well, her source code was written by some really traumatic childhood experiences. So her core OS beliefs were things like, I am worthless, people are dangerous, the world is harsh. I mean, with that kind of code running in the background, it's really no wonder her system was generating constant error messages, right? And this is maybe the most important takeaway of the whole thing. Your operating system was installed in childhood, yeah, but you now have full permission and you have the tools to rewrite that code. And this isn't about fixing something that's broken. It's about making a conscious choice to upgrade to a system that actually serves the person you are today. So there you have it. You've seen the lab. You've been introduced to the tools. The only question left is, are you ready to pick them up and become the alchemist of your own digital world?